Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel for another acrylic painting tutorial. I'm Joni Young if you're new. Thanks for joining. I offer weekly painting tutorials step by step. Now I have a special request submitted in by one of my wonderful Patreon members, Misty. This is a beautiful sunset dock painting. She submitted the photo on Patreon and she's going to receive the original painting today as well. So I'm working on a 12 by 12 double primed and stretched square canvas today, and I've got the following colors: titanium white, dioxazine purple, blue turquoise, primary yellow, burnt sienna, magenta, and some neon red. I'm going to go ahead and get started with a number 30 filbert brush, and I'm going to begin working on the sky and the background colors. So I'm going to take a little bit of white, a little bit of blue turquoise, and a little bit of magenta. So a little bit of each color here. I'm going to start across the top. I'm going to leave a few spaces, pick up a little bit more magenta and white and a little bit of water. You want it to look pretty streaky because sunsets look like that, right? Okay, and then I'm going to take some more white and I'm going to begin to really soften the sky colors here. We all know that acrylic paint dries a little darker, so it's important to know that along the way when you're learning how to paint with acrylics. It's going to really help you navigate and knowing how much of each color to add, how much white to add. Okay, the next color I'm going to take is some neon red, a little bit of white, and I'm going to start adding it right along here where we've got this empty space. I'm not going to go right over that. I'm going to leave that for some yellow. I'm just going to start overlapping along with the white here and there to create some smokier tones within that blue and magenta. And then I'm going to take a little bit more, a little bit more depth right in here with that beautiful red. And then over the water, our horizon line is going to be just above halfway down the canvas, okay? You don't want to cut it right in the middle because that can make for a really boring and dull perspective in a painting. Take a little bit of water here. I'm going to switch over to a filbert brush now, and I'm going to take some white and I'm going to take some primary yellow. Gently mix the two together, and I'm going to start applying it where I left off with the red and the white. I'm going to add it wherever I've got a little bit of red. Now sometimes when you go over, if you accidentally go over a little bit of blue, it can actually look really pretty. It'll turn kind of a turquoise color. I'll just take a little bit more white in there. It'll be a really soft shade when it dries. Okay, so now I'm going to come down in the water area here. We're going to have a reflection right about here of the sun. And then I'll just add a little bit of a dry brush over top. So when it goes over part of the red and white, it'll dry to an orange, peachy, glowing shade, which is really pretty. Then we'll take a little bit more white this time and add kind of a wobbly shape of a sun. Gonna add a little bit more white right in here. Just a pretty reflection in the water. Then I'm going to take more red and I'm going to come from the side. You can add little lines or just pull gently back and forth slightly over that yellow. You can even mix the two, apply it however you like. And then there's going to be a little bit of intensity here, looking at Misty's photo that she submitted, the reference photo, which you'll always get the reference photos from these paintings I'm doing from my Patreon members. You'll get them on Patreon, so you'll be able to download them in the attachments. Okay, I'm going to come in here, add a little bit more. Okay, and the next thing I'm going to do is I want to start building up a little bit more bluey purple here. So I'm going to take my Dioxazine purple, my blue turquoise, and some white. More purple. There's the color I want. More of a blue violet. So what I'm going to do is add it right in this area here, right underneath the sun. I'm going to pull in a little bit of white along with it. This will give us a little bit of a soft smokiness to it. Just rinsing my brush out. The brush is clean. I'm going to take a little bit of, there's a little bit of neon red in there and white. Just want to soften the edges. A few little clouds in and around here. Okay, then adding a little bit more white and water. I'll pull into this violet color again, and I'm going to add some more blue to the water, mixed with some white. Pick up just a little bit more and just tap and wiggle and dab a little bit for some darker patches of clouds right in here. Then over to my round brush, add a little bit of little bit of neon red, white, and magenta. I'm going to come inside. Lightly tap. Push, wiggle. Okay, for the next thing, you start coming in with the land on the horizon there. So a little bit of dioxazine purple. I'm going to use a little bit of burnt sienna, a little bit of magenta. This will just give us a little bit of warmth and keep it really, really dark rather than just using straight black. So I'm going to come down pretty low down here. Right above the reflection of the sun. Okay, then I'm going to take some more of those colors. I'm going to turn my brush this way, and I'm going to just start to go up and down, tap, 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 for some trees. Just little gentle pressure. Then I'm going to come across the bottom, pull all the way across, use those same colors. You can even use a little bit of, that would be beautiful for some shadows, dark shadows, a little bit of that turquoise blue in there. And then we're just going to make a few little jagged bumps and lumps here for some rocks. I'm going to use my flat brush now, and we'll start coming in with the dock. So I'll get my brush a little wet, use those same colors, make a nice dark base, get it on the tip of your brush. And we'll have the first landing right here. About 2.5 inches or 2 inches, something like that. And then we'll leave a little space and then go down. Add just a little bit of water, not much, to my brush. Wiggle and add the rest of my paint to load it up again. We're going to have some posts in here, so just follow along. I'm going to start this one right here on the right side of the reflection of the sun. Pull down just to about there. Add a little reflection in the water. We're going to have another one right here on this side, so it comes down a little lower. A little reflection, and then another one right on the other side. A little reflection. And then there's a board that comes out this way underneath. It's not that visible, but I want to include it because I see it in the reference photo. Then we're going to add a post right here. Make that a little wider. And a little wiggly reflection like this. And I have a little bit of a shadow under from the dock as well. Then we're going to have another post right here, comes up just a little bit higher. Reflection. Then there's another board that comes right here with another post that joins this right here. And then one on the other side. It's going to come up a little higher and it's going to touch this one. Reflection. Then we're going to have another board coming right here, making it a little bit thicker. We're going to have another post right here, comes up just a little bit shorter than this one, so we'll start the reflection up a little higher. And then we're going to have two together, two short ones right together right here. 1, 2. And a larger one that comes up here for the roof. One right next to it that comes down here. Reflection. And then we'll have another one there, another short one, one right off the end here. And then one that touches this one on the left and comes down on this side. Reflection. How are we doing, everybody? You can stop and pause, rewind. Every time I add a post and follow along one post at a time. I'm gonna come out, make a T like that, and then from here, I'm gonna make a triangle. Paint it in. And there we have our little roof. I just gently push and wiggle to get my brush nice and flat again. And I'm going to go over these here, make sure they're not see-through. And I'm going to go over to a fan brush and I'm going to show you guys how we can take a fan brush like this, put it in the water, and then it turns into what looks like a little rake. I'm going to pick up a little bit of these dark colors here, dab some of it off, and we're going to add some more reflections in the water, shadows. We can go right over top of the boardwalk and the posts. What we want to do is make it a little wiggly while we go over them. And you're going to need a little bit more water if you're having a bit of a hard time doing this. So see how gentle using a brush like this is. It makes for some really easy lines where you have something that you have to paint a lot of lines. You can easily get it done just with a little fan brush like that. Okay, so we have just a few tree branches and little pieces of grass here to paint. I'm going to use my long liner brush, the dark colors again, water. Make sure you have some water on your brush. And I'll just pull up and wiggle a few little branches here in the foreground. It's just a little plant coming out right here that looks kind of pretty and graceful. So add a few little branches and then a few little dabs. Or some leaves. Again, using a liner brush, you're going to need water. It's going to be really, really helpful. And don't apply a lot of pressure. Okay, the next thing, again, more water, any dark color, or mix all the colors to make a dark color, except for white. And then we're just going to come down right here, just sort of in the middle here, and wiggle. I'm going to add a few little draping branches, little wiggles and squiggles, gentle, gentle. And then over on this side, it's going to be a little fuller. I'll come in with a few little branches first. And they're coming down over top of this roof. See how dry that was? I couldn't do anything with my brush, so all I do is pick up a little bit more water, twist it, roll it around, in with a little bit of paint there. And then just add a few little branches. Okay, I'm going to switch over to a small mop brush. I've got a little mop brush here. If you don't have a mop brush, just use a filbert. Tap into my dark colors. Let's get a little bit of that burnt sienna in there. And it's a little fuller right in this area here. Very dense, can't see through this one little part. And then there's a few areas where it starts to, just a few little leaves. So it's hanging down right over the water. Just going to go over to a little round brush here, pick up some purple burnt sienna, and I'll add a few leaves and just pushing, letting off. You can also use a small filbert brush for leaves as well. I like to use those for filbert brushes for leaves and flower petals. Completely washing my brush out, I'm going to go back over to my yellow and my white. Still have my round brush. And I'm going to add a little bit more to the sun area here. Brighten this up a little bit. And then go down below. Pick up the last little bit, which is perfect because that's all I need. And I'll add just a little bit more neon red here with that yellow. I'll go right over the blue line where it meets the yellow and white. Well, I really enjoyed working on this one today. There's just one more thing to do before we call this done, and that is to paint little pointy tops on the tops of these posts. So I'm just going to paint like just a point on the top, a little line this way, a little line that way. I've sure enjoyed doing these requests from you guys. You sent in such beautiful photographs. Now remember again, if you want to see the reference photo for these, they're available on Patreon. Just a little wiggle and squiggle down here for the reflection. I'm going to go through this again so it's a lot more bold and making sure that it's not see-through. We can get these little ones here. All right, thanks everybody so much for joining me for this pretty little sunset and the dock painting. Thank you, Misty, and I'll see you guys all soon in my next video. Take care, everybody. Bye.